Hi guys, my name is Mayana. Welcome to Myocore, and today I'm going to be talking about Amandla and the erasure of black girls in book to movie adaptations. I didn't really know if I want to make this video for a while because everyone has been talking about it and I feel like I have nothing new to bring to the table. But I decided that I wanted to talk about the situation, but just in my own way. So I want to talk about the erasure of black girls in book to movie adaptations or book to TV adaptations as a whole, and not just Amandla. But if you want to know where I stand with the situation, then I stand with the fact that I think that it plays into colorism. I think that Amandla can say whatever she wants to say, but I still feel like she's playing a part in colorism. It is very clear that she knows what racism is and can call people out on racism, but the moment she is called out in her play in colorism, then suddenly she acts like very oblivious to it. Children of Bone and Bones was the first fantasy book I ever read. It what introduced me to fantasy. Fantasy is now my main genre, and I'm so happy and proud to say that my first fantasy book I ever read was one written by a black author with a full black cast of characters. It is one of the greatest things that I can hold in my life, and so it really upset me to see that Amandla is gonna be playing Amari in the film. She isn't necessarily dark skinned, but she isn't light skinned either. She does experience colorism in her family. Rather you feel like with black people, you know, there's either light skin or dark skin, or you feel like there's light skin, brown skin, and dark skin. Either way, colorism still exists, and people who are brown skinned still will experience racism. I consider myself a dark skinned person. I am the darkest person in my family, along with my mom. Me and my mom are the darkest people in our family, and I still experience colorism in my day-to-day life. Whether you view me as a dark skinned woman or a brown skinned woman, I view myself as a dark skinned woman because of how I grew up, but other people will look at me and go, that's a brown skinned girl. And whatever you want to say, that doesn't erase colorism, and that doesn't erase that brown skinned women or dark skinned women still experience colorism. And casting a biracial woman to play someone who is fully black, Hollywood has an issue with casting biracial women as fully black, period. One of my favorite shows, Genevieve, Jasmine Sinclair is playing a fully black person. She is not fully black. It's not just a Jazz Sinclair, it's not just Amandla. Fully black women are getting erased from media, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, and we are getting placed with biracial women, and biracial women have their own stories that need to be told. Fully black women should not be used to tell their story, and I feel like their story is also getting erased. I don't experience what a biracial woman is gonna experience. I don't experience being half black and half another race, and a biracial person couldn't fully experience what it's like to be fully black. They could experience colorism or racism. They're not going to experience what I fully experience, and Hollywood is trying to group us into one thing, and not only that, they're grouping us into one thing and then they're replacing us with biracial women, and Amandla is playing a part in that, and that's how I feel. Haryana Hook did a video on Amandla being able to understand racism but not colorism, and I really love that video, and I highly recommend that you guys check it out because it's a great video. But like I said, today we're going to be talking about books, because that's what I talk about here, and I wanted to relate this back to books. I do want to talk about black women being erased in media. If you guys want to hear about that video, I really do want to talk about it. I'm just really nervous too, because people do not like when fully black women, dark skinned women talk on things. Like, because I'm a dark-skinned woman, people are gonna easily take that as a way to like attack me. I saw a biracial black man talk about it. He has such great points, and I was like, damn, I really want to make this video, but if I were to make the video, people would be in the comments gaslighting me and telling me I'm wrong and all these things simply because I'm a black woman. And also, before you get in my comments and you go, oh well, black people need to create their own media, don't you think that if we could create our own media that we would? Do you think that nobody else has thought about that? Do you not think that Hollywood is purposely muffling our voices? I hate when I talk about, you know, the issues that we have in Hollywood, and then here comes somebody being like, well, black people need to create their own media. Don't you think that if we could be doing that, we would? And yes, I do think that we should be happy that we're getting Children of Blood and Bone. Personally, I think that it should be an animation, because I think that high fantasy or fantasy in general should just be animated, and I think that Americans just don't take to animation very well because they think of it as very childish and they compare it to like children, which I understand, but I think that this movie would do great if it was animated, and if it was like animated in like a Spider-Verse or Arcane type of style, but it's not. And so I'm really hoping that the CGI is just really good and it's a great movie. And yes, like I do think that we should be happy for the media that we had, but there are discussions that need to be had, and if we don't have these discussions, then things are only going to get worse. I think that we should just shut up and take the media that we're given, because that's how you get shitty media. And I don't think the movie is going to be shitty. I think it's probably going to be great. It has so many like top actors, which I also think is crazy. And I'm personally not going to touch on the conversation of the actors or anything, because I don't know, like I just feel like, you know, that's not really an important discussion. I think the discussion should be the fact that they asked for Nigerian actors and didn't really hire Nigerian people as the main characters. I think that should be discussed. My DoorDash is going to be here soon, so I need to actually just get into the video. So I have my notes on my handy dandy iPad, so if you see me looking down, that is what I'm looking at. But this big ass iPad, my god. So I know that there are a lot of media with black girls that are coming out soon, or a bit of, I won't say a lot, that's too generous. There's a bit of media with black girls that are coming out soon, but I want to actually look into the past, because our past might also look like our future, because history repeats itself. I know we have things like Legend Born and like all of that, but honestly, Hollywood purposely, and I'm not saying that like Legend Born isn't coming out, and like I know Hollywood has adapted or picked up a bunch of black books, but honestly Hollywood has a habit of picking up things and then holding them in production hell so that other people can't make something of a similar idea. I'm gonna go through book to movie adaptations that has black girls, and this might not even be all of it. This is the media that I consume. And I also forgot to mention that these are all in timeline order, by the way. I'm literally gonna go through the timeline. So we're gonna start off with Harry Potter in 2021. I don't want to spend too much time talking about Harry Potter, and it's not even gonna be in a good light. Harry Potter, you have a character named Lavender Brown who was originally written as to be black, and actually in the background she was black. I don't remember actually if Lavender was said to be black, but she was casted as black in the movie, and then the moment she got a bigger role she was recasted as white. And I just feel like thinking about that honestly saddens me. I guess it's for the best, because Lavender Brown ended up being crazy anyways, but I think it would have been fun. And then we also have the Cheetah Girls. Galleria is not fully black. She's half white, half black. Then you have Chanel, who is Latina. Then you have Dorinda, who is white. And then you have Aqua. Aqua was one of my favorite Cheetah Girls. Like, I love the attitude that she gave in the first movie. Like, I am so sorry. I mean, I love Galleria. Like, that's my girl. Like, I love her down. Everyone loves her. I don't think that she ever really did anything wrong. I think she was the only white person in the series, but I loved Aqua and her little attitude. Like, I don't know, I thought it was very entertaining. Aqua is the only fully black girl in the media, and she's actually portrayed as this girl with like a lot of attitude. And also her character having like so much switch up between the first movie and the second movie. Like, she had all this character development that we didn't even see between the first and the second movie. And then also like her character switching up in the first movie. She was originally supposed to have a twin sister, and they erased her, which I can kind of see why probably erased her. But that, if you ever wonder like why her personality was so weird throughout the series, it's because they gave her the personality of both sisters basically. She was the only, but Aqua's the only fully black girl in the series. And then you have Hunger Games 2012. You have Rue. Honestly, I don't understand why people were so mad when Amandla got casted as Rue. I don't understand why people were like saying that Rue was race bended, when I thought it was like pretty obvious that district that she was from, the characters were black. Like, I thought that was pretty obvious, but you know, that was the first time we seen Amandla, and she's been terrorizing us ever since. And then you have Paper Towns in 2015 with Jazz Sinclair. Jazz Sinclair, like I said, is biracial. I don't remember the character that she played ever being written as black. That was the first time we were also introduced to Jazz Sinclair. If you don't know who Jazz Sinclair is, she is a person that I mentioned earlier. She plays Marie Moreau. She was also in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, if you're wondering where you know her from. And then you have Everything in 2017. This also starred Amandla. I don't remember the character ever being descriptively written as black or biracial or whatever. Everything means so much to me. I am a girl who grew up like am trapped in my own house. I still feel like it. There's this joke in my family that I'm literally Rapunzel. Like I never leave my house. My mom was also really strict growing up. So growing up, I was actually trapped in my house, whereas like, now I just am conditioned to be here. Like now my mom doesn't care what I do, but I just feel like I'm always here. But I deeply related to everything growing up, because even though I didn't have a sickness, I was stuck at home. I only had my own books and my hobbies to comfort me. Also, I was in love with Nick Robinson at the time. And then you also have The Darkest Minds that came out a year afterwards. Now, I haven't read or seen The Darkest Minds, but we already have 3 instances where Amandla has been casted in a book to movie adaptation, and 1 instance already where she is casted to play a black girl. Like I said, I don't remember if she was supposed to play a fully black girl or biracial black girl or whatever, so I can't really speak on that. But then you have The Hate U Give in 2018. Now, I have read this book. I love this book. The main character is, Amandla likes to argue that the author wrote Star with Amandla in mind, and then the book got created, and authors don't have full control over their book covers. Yes, I do realize that, but also, like, why would you write a story with 2 fully black parents where everyone in the family is dark skin or brown skin, and then you are picturing a biracial person? Like, even if we do, I watched an interview of Amandla saying this. She also said this like in a TikTok follow-up, but I also watched an interview that she did with Keke Palmer, because during the Acolyte era, Amandla was facing a lot of racism, and I was defending her, and I will defend her always from racism. Like, despite my criticism and qualms with Amandla, I actually do love her, and that's actually why I criticize her so much, because I think she gets herself in these situations that she doesn't need to be in. And I loved her growing up. I follow her growing up, and I remember when she called out Kylie Jenner for wearing cornrows, and she called her out immediately. And it's just so crazy because people are calling her out for what she's doing and how that also giving into colorism, and she can't even acknowledge it. Like, she just pretends like everyone's in the wrong here. Sorry, I think I kind of strayed off a little bit, but I just don't understand why you would write a book with Amandla in mind. And Amandla is biracial, and not only is she biracial, but she's light skinned, and everyone else in the family is dark skinned. Even if she didn't plan for that to happen, like, light skinned families exist, I do still think that that's an issue regardless. And then there's also Love, Simon in 2018 with Alexandra Shipp. I personally don't like Alexandra Shipp because she got on Twitter tweeting some weird shit during the X-Men like movie, and I haven't liked her ass since. Like, I used to love Alexandra Shipp, to be honest, but when she did that X-Men shit, I was like, goodbye, girl. She was in Love, Simon. I'm pretty sure her character was never fully said whether she was biracial or fully black or whatever. Then we have The Sun Is Also a Star that came out in 2019. I really enjoyed that movie. That has Yara Shahidi, and she was supposed to be playing a fully black character, but Yara Shahidi, damn it, I looked up everyone else's, like, what they are, except for Yara Shahidi, and that is my bad. I'm so sorry. You have Yara Shahidi, who, she's not Jamaican, I can tell you that. Like, she's not fully Jamaican, and her Jamaican accent wasn't good either. And then also, everyone in her family was dark. And then also, I think of The Sun Is Also a Star as like a love story about the author and her husband, even though it's probably not even what happened with them. The author is black, and then her husband is Asian, and they both are authors. And I always saw it as like a love note, like a love letter to their relationship. And so the author is not biracial or light it either. So I also just like, okay, I get it. And I didn't have a problem with Yara Shahidi, like, but also we need to talk about the colorism there. Like, why did they cast her to play a Jamaican character? Oh, my DoorDash is here, you guys. She's mixed with African American, Native, and Iranian. So she's definitely not Jamaican though. So why did they have her play a Jamaican? That doesn't make any sense. DoorDash acquired. Y'all, why did my neighbor take my DoorDash? Because she thought it was hers. What? Because she ordered DoorDash the same time as mine, and her DoorDash got lost. But I think that's absolutely hilarious. So then we have Tiny Pretty Things, and this came out in 2022. The main character in this was written as black, and this has to be one of, casting wise, I think this is one of the best like adaptations that I've seen so far. And also, if you know, in this list that I've given you, this is the first 2020 is the first time we got a fully black woman casted in a book to movie adaptation. All of these movies that I just listed, Harry Potter, Cheetah Girls, Hunger Games, Paper Towns, Everything, Everything, The Darkest Mind, The Hate You Give, Love, Simon, The Sun Is Also a Star. This is the first time, 2020, we are getting a fully black girl that plays a fully black character. When it first came out, I thought it was an okay show. Like, I enjoyed it, but I thought it was really problematic and I thought it could be better. And then the more I look back on it, the more that I don't enjoy it, and I lean more towards it's problematic and it could have been better. There's so many qualms I have with it. Like, why did they write the main character to have this mom who is like in jail, and like she didn't struggle with that in the book? There's so many things about this adaptation that is problematic, and it's so unfortunate because the book is actually really good and it touches on so many important things that the TV show kind of just erased so that it can have like Pretty Little Things X drama. And they definitely did prioritize hiring dancers over actors, which I personally enjoyed, even though I don't really care about it. I'm not a dancer, so who am I to say? But I personally really enjoyed that, and I thought that was a good choice because the dancing was very believable. The acting, however, was not. And there's so many issues that I have with that TV show. And then we have Moxie in 2021, and this movie was great. It was so diverse. I absolutely loved this movie. Honestly, I never cared about reading the book when I heard about it in the book community, you know, before it came out, because it was out for years before it, and I never cared about it until I actually watched the movie, and I was like, wow, this is actually an amazing story. It's so diverse. It has so many different types of black women. It was just so diverse. I loved it because you have biracial black women who are half Latina and half black, and you have fully black women, and I'm like, okay, period. That's how you fucking do it. Or like, this isn't a book, but the Barbie adaptation, how they had so many different types of black women in that movie. They had a biracial black woman, but then they also had a monoracial black woman. And I'm like, that's how I would want the media to be done. Like, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do the damn thing, then do the damn thing. But the issue is Hollywood doesn't really want to do it. That's the thing. They prioritize racism over money, because there's also an article that I found that I cannot link once again. I'm sorry, that Hollywood actually loses more money by not including diversity rather than including because who wouldn't want to see themselves in media? You know? And so when you see a TV show and you hear people talking about it, of course you'll watch it if you hear people talking about it. But why would I watch this silly little show that's out on Hulu with only 3 people watching it and the whole cast is white? And I'm black? Why would I watch that? You know, it doesn't sound good. But then there's a character that looks like me in this show with 3 viewers. I don't know what it's about. Of course I'm gonna watch it because I want to see what's going on. You see how that makes sense? And then you have There's Someone Inside of Your House that came out in 2021. Now this has Sydney Park, and I like Sydney Park. I'm a fan of Sydney Park. I watched her. I remember when she was on That's So Raven, and I literally have been following her career since. She was also on like Awesomeness TV, and so I think There's Someone Inside Your House was like the first real thing that she was casted in as a main character, and I absolutely love that for her. I didn't know that she was biracial actually, but she's half Korean, half black. The main character in There's Someone Inside Your House is biracial. She was half black, half Hawaiian. So it's like, you see how one thing that, like, even if you don't care about fully black women getting their representation, you see how they think that they can change us interchangeably. You have Yara Shahidi in The Sun Is Also a Star, who is not half Jamaican. She's not Jamaican, not even half Jamaican. She's half native, half Iranian, and they have her playing a Jamaican character. You see how they don't even care the type of representation that they're getting. They're like, you're half black, you're half some type of black. We're just gonna throw you in there. It won't even matter. Mind you, someone who is Jamaican probably really resonates with this story, and then they see Yara Shahidi, they either start thinking that she's Jamaican because she played the Jamaican character, or they know she's not Jamaican and they're like, girl, what the hell? We have Vampire Academy in 2022, which personally I love. I love every rendition of Vampire Academy. Rose is not initially written as white, and I think that Julie Plec did this on purpose. I think that she's trying to make up for what she did to Bonnie in the Vampire Diaries, and she was like, you know what, let me just make this character half black. And also, she didn't put any, like, that show, I was tuned in every week, but that show was boring. The chemistry between the characters, all the characters, the romances, the friendships, the chemistry between the characters were amazing. The show itself, boring as fuck. I think she did that on purpose, because Vampire Academy is not boring, but it was just so fucking boring. And I know the media, like, I've seen and read Vampire Academy. I don't know why it was so boring. I think Julie Plec set us up so we could get canceled, so she wouldn't have to work on it, and so she could be like, I love black women, you know, or sorry black women, here's this, you know. But that's not what this is about. Anyways, the main character isn't originally written as black, which personally I don't mind race swapping. Well, originally I didn't mind race swapping, but now I'm kind of on the fence about it because it causes so much unnecessary racism. I want to see black people in media, of course, but I feel like race swapping is, it just gives us so much racism, unneeded racism. And but at the same time, like, race swapping is why we got a black Iris West. Like, I don't care, actually. Nah, take that back. Yeah, I don't care. I'm sorry. I wish that it didn't cause so much racism, but it's why we got a black Iris Allen West Allen. Sorry. And also why we got a black Little Mermaid. And as someone who grew up, Little Mermaid has always been my favorite Disney princess. Rapunzel and the Little Mermaid, and then Princess Tiana, of course. But it's always been those three, right? And so, but Princess Ariel, because I grew, like, the other movies didn't come out until I got a little bit older, whereas The Little Mermaid was out since I had been born. So The Little Mermaid is something I've watched my entire life. And so to come and see this piece of media with this girl that I used to draw a lot in high school. The first person I would draw is Princess Ariel and Prince Eric. They were like the epiphany of love for me. I absolutely love that media. So when we got a black Little Mermaid, I was geeked as fuck, and I love the movie. Still love the movie to this day. Still listen to the soundtrack. Still watch it when I'm having a bad day. I don't give a fuck about race swapping. But that's an even bigger conversation that we're gonna have to have here. Okay, that's an even bigger conversation with that's even more. And then we have on the come up with Jamila Gray, fully black, I believe. Years after we finally get a fully black girl casted in a book to movie adaptation or book to TV show adaptation, 2 years after that we get another one. Okay, so my camera overheated. Next we have Percy Jackson, and that came out in 2023. Personally, I really like the casting for it. I love Leah. I'm biased to her because she's from Michigan. She's from Detroit, so I'm biased. But I think she's very gorgeous. I love her hair. I love seeing her have different hairstyles all over social media. I think she is great representation for young black girls, and I absolutely love it. Children of Blood and Bone 2026. I think the casting is actually fine besides Amandla. I just do hate that Amari is originally written as brown skin or dark skin or however you want to read her. She's not written as light skin. She's not written as biracial. And it really upsets me that biracial women get casted. Like, they kind of just don't care how they cast biracial women. They cast them as fully black. They cast them as Jamaican even though they're not. They cast them as half Hawaiian, half black, even though they're half Korean, half black. And I hate how they think that this is just so interchangeable. It really saddens me, the part that Amandla plays in it. At first I was really upset, and I was like, I'm not watching this damn movie. Personally, I probably will watch it after like some thought. I love that story. It's the very first fantasy I ever read, and so for my very first fantasy to be a black fantasy, it does hold a place in my heart. The cast is amazing. I love the cast. Is basically the cast of like Black Panther and Woman King, but that's neither here nor there. It is a bunch of popular actors. Even Zelly she was in Woman King. I would have liked for the casting to be completely new faces, but I mean, if I was a writer and my book got turned into a movie, I would want it to be a bunch of popular actors. Like, I would want it to be famous. Like, I'm pretty sure they want this to be like the next Black Panther, the next The Woman King. Like, I do understand that. So at first I was upset with the casting, but now not too much. But even if you want to say that Amandla is not playing a role in colorism, that you can see through my examples that I have that Amandla has been casted one too many times in something that she is not supposed to be casted in, if we're being real. This really upsets me because I was just defending her from them racist ass Acolyte fandoms and the Star Wars fandom, because I love the Acolyte. I loved Amandla and the Acolyte, and I was defending her so much, and I don't regret that. And she could come back to Star Wars and I still would defend her from the racists. Like, I'm still going to defend her from racism. I love Amandla. Actually, it's why I'm so critical of her, because I watched her growing up. She's been in a lot of questionable things, and still to this day, because I personally followed her on social media. I know that the work that she did for racism. I was there. I watched all of her Instagram posts. And so for her to constantly contradict herself, for her to not really give a fuck about colorism but care so highly about racism, it upsets me. And even if it's not on purpose, it's one too many times for my liking. You can say all you want to say and you can disagree all you want, but it does play a part in how black women are going to continue to be casted in the future, especially now in the climate that we are in. Black women are already being written out of TV, period, where young black women barely even have their own media. New current media barely have as like much to choose from. Honestly, after the writer's strike, personally, I noticed, and a lot of my Twitter mutuals noticed, they have been pulling back on diversity. You can say all you want about black women being casted in media. I'll tell you this, they're coming for black women now. Guess who they're gonna come for next? They're gonna come for everybody else. It's not just races. They're not gonna just come for diversity and races. They're gonna also come for diversity and sexuality, disabilities, women. Not just black women, but women. They're going to come, they come for black women first, and then they're gonna come for the rest of us. Like, it doesn't just stop here. So you can say all you want about diversity and how it doesn't matter to you personally, unless you are a white straight man, it will affect you. If you want to know more about how I feel about the lack of black women casted in Hollywood, please let me know, because I would love to do that video. I'm just really nervous because whenever it's coming from a black woman's mouth, nope, everyone gets mad. Like, it's racism, it's colorism. Whenever it comes from a darker skinned black woman, people get upset. They don't want to hear what we have to say. Rather it's true or not, they cannot wait to tell us that we're wrong and we're so dumb and we're so stupid. Despite black women being the most educated people in America, they love to make us feel like we're dumb. So if you want to add your 2 cents on that so I can use it in my video, I would absolutely love that. I would love to hear your 2 cents about how you feel about the whole amandla situation. I am pretty stern about how I feel about the colorism. Like, I cannot be swayed on that. I'm sorry. Like, it's just how I feel as someone who experiences colorism. I cannot be swayed on how I feel about amandla being casted. But I'm not letting that deter. After calming down and thinking about it, I'm not going to let that deter me for hyping up the movie, talking about the movie, watching the movie or whatever, because Children of Blood and Bone does hold a place in my heart. So yeah, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.